welcome you to the other end of the spectrum, and that's those of us who work 40 to 80 hours a week and volunteer in the parks to keep the parks open. You may not know that parks are really big institutions, and before 1980 in the city of Chicago, there were North Side parks and there were South Side parks, and often North Side parks got more of the goodies, and Southside Park got very little. So people from Hyde Park went to the city and said, let's even this out a little bit. One of those people was Nancy Hayes, who helped form Friends of the Park. Nancy died a few years ago, but Nancy, in fact, was one of the founders of Friends of the Park and the founder of Jackson Park Advisory Council. And so now Southside Parks get an equal amount of things. But once again, we're so far behind, it takes a while to catch up. So I want to talk to you from the micro basis, which is the real nuts and bolts. I was so excited to hear about you guys, because you guys could really, really, really make parks and packs better, because you know things we don't know. Just to start for the really basic things, this year we did almost 2,000 people in the parks. Now, thank God for Gerald Miller, who is our wonderful savior from the Hyde Park Herald, who came in and did our website. Websites really are the voice of your community to the rest of the city. People go to our website and say, I never knew Jackson Park existed. I didn't know it looked like that. I didn't know wonderful things were out there. We give free tours every single Saturday when it's warm enough of Jackson Park to talk about the White City and all of the amazing things that happened during the 1893 World's Fair, and then to talk about all the amazing things that happened in terms of the ecology, about when the feds put the Nike missiles in our park and how we transformed that wonderful area into an area now where there's trees and grass and all kinds of wonderful natural areas. Those are things people don't know about, and when they find out about it, it represents our community. Almost every park in the city has places like that where that could be happening, but they don't know how to start it and make it happen. So the kind of things that you guys do with networking people in, with websites, would be a wonderful thing. If you just could assign yourself to a park and look at those things and say, let's make that happen here, or we can help you make that happen. Joel sat down with us for a couple hours and said, we could do this and this and this and this, and my eyes glassed over, because I'm one of those people who's 65 who said, I know how to type my name in the computer. I can do a few programs, but that's about it. But folks who know how to do those things, like you guys, make all the difference in the world. Just the basic things. Security. The first thing the Park District did for us, for parks that had issues with crime, was put cameras out there. They're attached to a security system, so that when you're in an area where you know there are issues, you can call up park security and say, look at this camera, and they can look at this camera and see who's ripping off what and who's bringing drugs into the park, and they're quickly carted away. Second thing is we planted lots of wonderful trees in Jackson Park, almost 3,000 of them. But unfortunately, some people decide to come and take down trees, so we put satellite tags on them. So now every single tree is on a satellite tag. The ones we plant, and volunteers have planted trees in the snow. So let me tell you, we know how we know. I did it. Oh, no, okay. I'm famous for destroying microphones. I try to stay away from them. The idea is that having the satellite tag tells us when the tree goes down, and then we can replace it quickly. You may know that the Wooded Island, which Olmsted designed to be a place of peace and comfort, and the Japanese gardens are there, had this wonderful grove of oak trees that was over 300 years old. Storms basically destroyed them, about 75% of them in the last 10 years. They've kind of gone 2 or 3 a year. When we started removing the invasive species, and this was again all volunteer work, removing all the invasive species from the island, suddenly 200 little oak trees have sprouted up from acorns that were in the ground. So now we have oaks that will be around for the next 100 years, which is really, really exciting. So those are the kind of things that when they go online and people see pictures of them, they come out and say, how can we help you? We've had over 1,200 volunteers helping out in Jackson Park just in the last 6 months. We've had tours with folks from, it amazes me, folks come from all over the city and suburbs for our White City tours, primarily because we've been online, the word's been out there, and people have known about them. We've had 550 people do tours in the last 4 months. And that's, again, because, thank God Ray Johnson knows how to do the online thing, and so we've gotten the word out there to people. That's what guys like you can do really, really well for us, because we don't know how to do it. Big thing, simple thing, cards. The one way people find out how to reach you is by your business cards. Business cards are really difficult to print online, to print off your computer. They take a little more work than I can do sometimes. They're very expensive, and most volunteer groups can't afford the $200 to $300 to print business cards. I'm sure that you guys know how to do it for free somewhere. It's the kind of thing you could offer. You could offer a pack that would make it so it would just teach us how to use the program. We're happy to go and go to Office Depot and get the program, learn how to do it, so we can have business cards available. Repairs. The Park District a few years ago did the most amazing thing because we begged for it, which is put something online so the average Joe who's out in the park can go in and type in and say, there are 2 broken benches and lots of graffiti at this address at this place. And they promised us they would look at it within the next 2 weeks, and they did. And lo and behold, repairs are happening 3 times as fast. Again, it's an online service. It's huge. It's the kind of thing that every little pack would like to know more about how to do in their own park. And you guys could tell us how to do it. Registration, pack registration online. Again, we've had all these volunteers, but because we're so short-staffed, there's no way we've all had time to put all those volunteers into a database and say, y'all come to the next meeting or y'all come and help us with the next project. We lay things out online, but be able to put a database together with all those people that came out and volunteered would be wonderful. We just don't have time to put it together, but I'm sure you guys could give us a program. We could do it quickly and easily. I come from the school of putting 2,000 soccer players in the computer by hand in the 80s and 90s. Literally would sit there for hours and hours and hours and input players and parents and judges and all the referees. And I would have to take weeks off work to do this. Now you can do it with a flip of a button and it's there. So I know there are ways to make it easier. We just don't know how to do it yet. Online videos for tours of the park. There's some wonderful, amazing historical parks in the city. Just amazing, but nobody knows about it. One of the things that folks would have access to teaching us how to do the online videos would be to teach parks how to do a video of their park and talk about those historical sites, those natural sites that people don't know about. Being able to get newsletters and minutes online. Oftentimes people hear about what we do at Jackson Park because, thank God, we have a person who was the High Park Community Conference historian who put every single minute and every single piece of history online. So all the history of Jackson Park Advisory Council going back to 1983 is online, and we can pull all that up. That's technology at its best. Most PACs don't have that, so their history is lost. That's something that every PAC would like to have available that we'd love to have help with. I think that for us who are 65 and older, and there are a lot of us who are working in PACs, it's education. Thank God there are people like Gerald who are patient and are willing to, when we ask stupid questions, listen and explain it. But having a tech teacher teach the seniors who are working as volunteers in the park how to do the computer aspects, how to figure out the language, how to take very careful notes so that when you go home you understand what you just learned. All that's really a new language for those of us who are older. If you're younger, it's an easier thing, but most of us didn't grow up there. I'm a nurse practitioner, which means that I spent hours doing charts very quickly and keeping going. Computers only came into my world, well, 12 years ago, really. And so it's not a skill that a lot of us, some of you guys went to school on computers. We didn't, so we had to learn the hard way. So having somebody just teach us, particularly the older residents and of the volunteers, would be wonderful. Here's what we do. So, this is just a brief kind of picture. Did we go out there? I did it again. I'll go away. Here.
I got you.
We go out in the field with 300 kids from schools. Oh, you're awesome. With 300 kids from schools, and we teach them the names of trees. And then we teach them how to remove invasive species. So we have these cute little girls who are out removing invasive species and make great pictures for the website. But more importantly, they learn an important skill. We support all of the teams at the Park District headquarters, which means that we put money and time into the uniforms, into their activities. We figure out ways to get trophy cases, send them on special trips, because that's something Park Advisory Council can do. And I think if you're not doing it for the kids, it's not worth doing it. So the idea is parks should be places where families and kids can grow and have a good life. We spend a lot of time teaching. So we've had over 62 colleges this summer come in with their students to learn about the ecology and the trees we plant and the history in Jackson Park. We've trained four very strong people who can make that happen. And so we give tours and lectures with every work day. We have an hour of teaching beforehand so people can actually learn something and take it back with them. The very first thing we did was to put out a history of Jackson Park so we could see what a swamp it was, because it really was a swamp when Olmsted got there. And then to go through and learn the names of some of the trees. We have people coming, if our box is empty, because we pay for it and make it happen ourselves, people come and call us and say, there were no tree brochures in the box, and we had a school group there, could you get us some tree brochures? So it's a very important aspect for school groups coming to. You guys can help make that possible in ways that for other PACs that they can't afford it. You guys can print it out and make it happen for them, which would be great. I'm going to pass this out. I was told there were going to be 12 to 14 people here. Obviously, I was wrong, so I apologize in advance. We're not very good at this, but we did it. We put together a collage and put together a wonderful brochure for all the things you could do in Jackson Park. It's hard copy because lots of young people go online, but people who are just passing through the park would like to know what's there. So we put it together. It's just a very simple thing that we just kind of cut and pasted and threw it in. I'm sure there are programs out there that make it easier. PACs would love to know about that. So I'm just going to pass these out. You guys can give me comments. We'd like to make ours better for sure. As far as they go, I apologize. I thought there might be something. What really makes it important in a park is to have something you can identify with your group with, that if you're from Jackson Park, you're from Jackson Park, and that's something to be really proud of. So places where we can get that, and I know online now you can get these things, these shirts online for about $3. You guys, I know about those things. You know the networks and where that's found. Just getting that information out to PACs as opposed to spending $20 for a shirt, like spend $3 online and make it happen and have some PAC identity. Okay. Now, why is it important to have a map in your park? Well, because most people get to the parks and they get really lost. We have found more people kind of wandering around Jackson Park saying, gee, is the museum this way? Or do I need to go over that bridge? Or let's see, this is 60, am I at the museum? No. So the idea is to have maps in the park. They don't have to be expensive. The park district would like to spend expensive maps, and I understand that. But to have even simple maps that people could find their way around your park would make a huge, huge benefit. You can actually have those on your website, which again, you guys can help PACs figure out how to do. And people could download them and take them with them. Or if there's a way to put them on phones, which is what I'd really like, because I use a cell phone for everything. Teach us how to put them on phones so we could actually have people be able to use their phones to find their ways around the park. Again, the old-fashioned way works, but it would be really nice to pull out your iPhone and have a map of where you're going. And that's the kind of technology that I think almost even people my age could do. We finally taught our 87-year-old PAC member now how to use her iPad and iPod, so she's doing good stuff with it. So it's doable. And then finally, I'm bringing this one from the Park District. We have our own for Jackson Park, but the idea is that children need to learn what's going on in the parks. It's relatively expensive to print this out at Office Depot, but there are places online I've seen that will do it for literally a third of the cost. To put together, we do treasure hunts, we do scavenger hunts, we do tree finds, all kinds of things you can pull out and make it possible for kids to go through your park and learn things. These are things you guys could teach PACs to do. I end by saying, we're really lucky in Jackson Park because we started 4 years ago with a park that really had a major crime issue, had a major garbage issue, had a major issue with things kind of falling apart. In 4 years, we've been able to mobilize the community, thousands of people to come out and do things, and we're really, really happy because they come out, they work endless hours making it happen. But every single park in the city is a place where people come to for solace, to relax. And if you looked at the carbon studies, they found that cities that have lots and lots of parks, lo and behold, people tend to come into the cities and stay closer to the parks. Therefore, they're using less gasoline to drive out to the suburbs or homes in the suburbs. So parks actually are going to make a big difference in our carbon problem. So what you can do for parks and keeping people in the parks and keeping the parks a place where people can enjoy. You guys who are technical, thank you. I wish I knew more. but I'm happy to learn everything I can learn. I think every single PAC in the city was in the same position. We'd love to learn more how to do things. We'd love to make our life easier. Rather than spending 12 hours making phone calls, would it be nice to push a button and get the message out to everybody? So whatever you can do to help, thank you very much. And the final thing is, you guys know about access to funds. It'd be really nice to figure out ways to do grant proposals online. We don't know how to do that. We'd love to learn. So those are the kind of things that techies could do for PACs. It's a nice bridge to put together. As one who's kind of gone into this kicking and screaming, I think it's one we all need to learn, and we need your help. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.